Our program involves faculty from 6 different departments in the College of Arts and Sciences. So we have biology, marine science, geography, anthropology, geology, chemistry, and then some people from the College of Agriculture, Forestry, and Natural Resource Management.
This is where everyone comes to study. This is the natural lab in Hawaii for environmental and for ecosystem level questions. And it's been the natural lab for decades. For the TCBS program itself, it's really kind of a conglomeration of faculty from many departments. And on top of that, we have a lot of input from all the agency folks. We have this incredible diversity of government science agencies here, from USGS up in the park to the National Park Service to the Department of Agriculture has US Forest Service, which is very research-based, Department of Aquatic Resources, the Department of Forestry and Wildlife here in Hilo. So we have this incredible wealth of scientists that are often willing to serve on committees and to help guide students, that bring in all this extra expertise, and it really adds to the program. Because, the Big Island attracts scientists from all over the world, that sets us up really well for collaborations. They're almost natural forming collaborations. Usually they want to connect with local scientists. It makes their research go better to have local contacts. And so almost for every project we do, we have a collaborator from an outside university, from the mainland or from even Europe in some cases. One thing that scientists around the world have that we haven't had up until recently in Hawaii is tree ring records. Usually you can look at the patterns of rings in a tree, and usually the rings are correlated with climate. High rainfall usually means large rings, low rainfall, small rings, and you can look at the rainfall records in recent time. Normally you can't do that in the tropics because tropical trees generally don't lay annual rings because of the lack of seasonality in the tropics. We looked up to the high elevations on Mauna Kea in the Mamane Nayo forests, and we thought there's a great chance of seasonality up there, even the freezing temperatures regularly throughout the year, so we thought there'd be a great potential for seasonality. So we took slabs and cores of recently dead trees, and we found that these trees do lay annual rings. One big hole in knowledge is the way that climate in the recent past, like the past few thousand years, has varied in Hawaii. And so now we're in the process of using the ring patterns to piece together how it's varied in Hawaii. And so hopefully we can use that to, make predictions about what things will be like in Hawaii in the future, especially for the forests. We recently got control of a biological field station, and one really exciting direction is to expand courses from UH Hilo into both Hakalau Biological Field Station. There's also another field station at Laupahoehoe Experimental Forest to increase the number of field-based courses for the students, for both undergraduates and graduates. I think that's where you really learn is through these hands-on kind of experiential types of classes. And you can even do lectures. When you have these nice field stations, you can do lectures in the field and spend the entire day in the forest, learning. For my research, I really have two main directions. One is forest bird ecology, native Hawaiian forest bird ecology in particular. We have long-term banding studies going on right now at Hakalau, and also really focusing on documenting bird song in Hawaii. Bird song it's one of the major social behaviors of birds, and they transmit a huge amount of information when they sing to other birds and when they make calls. So we're really trying to document and set up almost a birdsong library right now for all the different species of birds and in all the different populations where they exist. So that's one kind of exciting direction for me, is creating kind of a library of native bird sound that we just don't have right now. Hakalau Forest National Wildlife Refuge, I think, is one great success story. The Fish and Wildlife Service has fenced it off. They've removed pigs, which primarily bring in mosquitoes. Mosquitoes aren't native to Hawaii, and no mammals are native to Hawaii. And so the pigs often come into the forest and the mosquitoes follow them because the pigs create breeding grounds for the mosquitoes. Mosquitoes often have avian malaria. One of the main reasons that we have a decline of native birds is because of avian malaria. Hakalau fenced off the land. They removed the pigs from some of the higher elevation forests. All of the native shrubs are growing back. Mosquitoes are almost non-existent, and the forest bird communities are better, more intact there than anywhere in the state. It's one of the shining examples of what management can do to protect the bird community. Another example is the amakihi, which is a native Hawaiian honey creeper that's getting resistance to the disease that wiped out so many other species. Recolonizing habitat that they were previously had gone extinct in. And so we've been watching this slow expansion over the last, 8 years now, of amakihi throughout the low elevation forests of Puna, where 20 years ago you would have never seen any native birds. What really drives me is just biodiversity. Being able to go into a forest and just seeing all the pieces there and working with a wide variety of trees, just an intact understory, forest floor of all the different shrubs and vines and ground cover species, and then an intact bird community. So there's just, to me, I just love the idea of a working ecosystem. One problem we have in Hawaii is we have invasive species oftentimes that are threatening the workings of the ecosystem that evolved here over millions of years, and is really just an incredibly special ecosystem. It's just found nowhere else in the world. So my passion comes from trying to preserve basically what we have left, and in some cases even reversing that kind of steady slide towards forests dominated by trees that aren't from here and birds that aren't from here, which is fine in some areas, but we just want to kind of preserve what we have left and understand how it works.